Hello, let's talk about algebra. My name is Mr. Chu. I taught for 24 years in the public school system, and now I want to help you understand algebra by showing you some easy ways to do the problems and to understand them in my videos. I call my videos Bare Algebra. That's the curriculum name. That's named after my 12-year-old Peekapoo so that he can live on forever because he's 12 at this time. We're going to be dealing with lesson 2.02B. That's just the way I number them. We're going to talk about solving one-step equations, SBS. Now the question would be, what does SBS mean? It means step by step with reasons. So now most people watching this would say, well, I can do that in my head, because if you are good with equations, you would be able to do them with your head, in your head. But as they get harder, you won't be able to. And then you probably don't know the reasons. And this is setting you up for success in geometry class whenever you have to write these as algebraic proofs. So let's just go through these examples now and see if they make sense. So example 1 is a simple one-step equation. And this is example 1. I'm going to get rid of that 1 because I'm just going to write the equation right underneath it. And example 1 is x plus 4 equals 11. Now, almost everyone knows the answer to that, but you don't know how to write down each step in a SBS, step-by-step method, and you don't know how to write the reasons down. So I am always going to give you the reasons whenever I solve a problem. So whenever you're solving an equation like this and it asks you to show your work, and it will do these on a lot of the state tests that people have. I live in Indiana. Our Indiana test is called I-Learn for 3 to 8. And then they take the SAT in the high school for graduation qualifications. If it asks you to show your work, this is what they want you to do. They want you to say, how do I undo adding 4 to a variable? Well, you undo that by doing its inverse, or inverse operation, which means the opposite of. So the opposite of adding 4 is obviously subtracting 4. This has a name. This is called the subtraction property of equality. Now that'll be the first and last time I'll write that all the way out, because property of equality, that's math teachers and especially the geometry teachers would just write subtraction POE, property of equality. So I would always tell my beginning students, well, look at this and tell me what's going to happen here. Plus 4 minus 4 is 0, right? So this is x plus 0, and in a geometry class, they might want you to write x plus 0, but we know that that's x plus 0, and x plus 0 is x. So I write my x here, and I would tell them, just put a little x in there because it crossed out. The inverse operation undid that. And then 11 minus 4 is 7. So the equation, x equals 7, is the solution to the equation x plus 4 equals 11. I'm going to go one step further now. Over here, what would I say here? Well, I subtracted it and then simplified it. And so that's as simple as it can be. Now, if they ask you to graph this, and I know a lot of teachers are not going to go this far, but I do this for when we get to inequalities. If I'm graphing 7, it just means that the number 7, a dot right at 7, is the only solutions for x's. So that's the graph of it. Now how do we check it? You check it by taking your original equation, writing it down, and then substituting the value that you say is the answer in parentheses with a little question mark. And now we see if it's true. 7 plus 11, or 7 plus 4, I'm sorry, I misspoke, is 11. Does 11 equal 11? Yes, so I just checked it. All right? So now, this here is my check, the original, and then this is going to be the substitution property of equality, and then down here, and then we do the order of operations, and it does equal. All right, so that was the first example. Now we go to example 2. In example 2, we should be able to speed up because it should make a little more sense. Negative 14 equals y minus 20. Well, what's happening in my variable? We're subtracting 20. Remember, in our one-step equations, the first step is to undo it or inverse it. So the opposite of subtracting 20 is adding 20. This crosses out, and I have y minus 0, which is y, and negative 14 plus 20 is positive 6. So that's the solution in step by step if they ask you to graph it. Now we're graphing y's. We're looking at the number 6, and does the number 6 work? Yes. Now let's prove that that's true by checking it. So on the check, we're going to rewrite the original. We're going to substitute my value in. It's a substitution property of equality. And now we're going to simplify it. We have a question mark there too. And then 6 minus 20 is negative 14. We did the order of ops. And then we simplified. And I always ask my students to put the check here. All right? So you're saying, yeah, but what were the steps up here? Drop my marker. Well, the first step is, this is our original equation. This is our addition, property of equality. And this is simplify. So those are all the steps in the one steps. Now they get harder, and we keep adding to this when we get to our 2 steps. All right? So you could always pause the video if you need to see what I've written up here, because I try to get everything done in a less than 10-minute video in most cases. It's just easier for me to post and know that it's going to be less than 10. I want you to try a couple of problems. I want you to try problem m minus 4 equals negative 6, and 12 equals p plus 16, and then show all the steps. I'm Keith Chew, Mr. Keith E. Chew. This is Bear Algebra. Subscribe and follow me. I want to help you learn the algebra. Up here will be links, and down here will be a playlist. See you next time.